Rúben Amorim has reportedly said yes to become the new Manchester United manager. This has just been confirmed in the last couple of minutes by Fabrizio Romano. We'll be bringing you all of the news. I'll be giving you my opinion. I'll be giving you a bit of a breakdown on the manager, his tactics, his style of play, and all the rest of it in this video. But before we get into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on today's episode. Let's try and see 500 likes on today's show. And if this is your first time watching, please also make sure you subscribe to the channel. Right. As always, I want to make the show as interactive as possible. I want you to let me know in the comments section, how do you feel about Rúben Amorim becoming the new Manchester United manager? Let me know what you think in the comments section right now. If you don't want Rúben Amorim, let me know who you want instead. Give me the name. I'll give you my opinion a little bit later on in the video. I want to bring you some more factual stuff first before I give you my opinion, but I invite you to get in the comments now. Let me know, how do you feel about Rúben Amorim becoming the new Manchester United manager? Right, let's start off with the news though, and let's start off with a tweet that's come out from Fabrizio Romano in the last couple of minutes. And the headline is this: Rúben Amorim has now given Manchester United the green light to become the new manager, or first team coach, I think is how they're calling it. It does, however, say that Rúben Amorim respects Sporting Lisbon, so it depends on whether the clubs can agree on a negotiation. Fabrizio's also confirms that apparently Rúben Amorim has a €10 million release clause in his contract, which is about £8 million roughly. So how that will work is Manchester United would effectively have to pay Sporting Lisbon €10 million in order to relieve him from his contract. So yes, £8.3 million, which isn't actually that bad, is it? £8.3 million. It's not a vast amount of money. Obviously, it's a lot of money for a manager, but when you see, I think Bayern Munich paid like 30 million for Nagelsmann, didn't they? How much did they pay? Let me check. Bayern Munich in 2021 paid €25 million to get Nagelsmann. That's absolutely mad. I can't remember what club he was at. Sorry, it was €30 million. So, I mean, €10 million isn't terrible. You know, I know some people will be like, oh, why are we paying for a manager? You know, football's gone mad and all the rest of it. And I do somewhat agree, but the black and white of the situation is Rúben Amorim is under contract at Sporting Lisbon. They don't have to let him go. So in order for him to be let go, Sporting Lisbon really deserves some compensation, and that figure is €10 million, which is in his contract. Apparently, it's only for some clubs. It's for what are being described as top clubs. It was Man United, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, a couple of others. I think Liverpool were in there. So yeah, effectively, we give them the €10 million, and then we can do whatever we want. So when you compare that to Bayern Munich paying €30 million for Nagelsmann back in 2021, I don't think that actually looks that bad, to be honest. So I've got no problem with £8 million or €10 million. I think that's perfectly fine. If that's the manager they want, then go and pay the £8 million, you know? And the interesting thing about not Nagelsmann, about Rúben Amorim as well, is that apparently Manchester City have been looking at Rúben Amorim as a replacement for Pep Guardiola. He was the manager they were lining up. If Pep Guardiola leaves at the end of the season, apparently Rúben Amorim was the number one option to replace him. So that's quite interesting there. And it would be another, you know, middle finger up to Manchester City. They take their CEO in Omar Barada, and now they're taking their future manager effectively. Now, will it work? That's the biggest question. That's the $1 million question. Do I think Rúben Amorim will be a success at Manchester United? I'll be honest, it's impossible to predict. But what I will say is this: I think of the managers on the market at the moment, he was my number one target. That was who I wanted. So I'm very, very happy. And when I used to be quite hesitant in the past about second Erik ten Hag, it was because, to my knowledge, getting people like Rúben Amorim wasn't possible mid-season. I thought that he wanted to stay at Sporting until the end of the year. You know, he's top of the league in the Portuguese league. He's won all 9 of the first 9 fixtures. He sat, I think, in 7th in the Champions League group. So he's already got Sporting Lisbon to a position where they would qualify automatically to the next round. He's done very, very well. To win all 9 of your first fixtures in the Portuguese league is absolutely incredible. And I thought maybe he won't want to leave mid-season. But the headline coming out from Fabrizio, as I've said, is that he has said yes to Manchester United. He's given them the green light. Apparently, Manchester United have offered to triple his wages. Some people will be unhappy about that. Some people will be saying, what are we doing? It's just how it works. It's just how it works in football, you know. Sporting Lisbon aren't going to be paying the type of money that Manchester United are going to be paying. It's fact. It's a fact. At the moment, Rúben Amorim earns £2 million per year as the Sporting Lisbon manager. 2 million, right? Which is roughly about £40,000 a week. So Manchester United effectively have said we will triple that, which means he will be on around 100,000 a week. I've got no problem with that. You know, when we're paying Bruno Fernandes 350k a week, Casemiro 350k a week, Rashford's on somewhere around 250k a week. Luke Shaw, who's been injured for forever, is on 200 grand a week. Paying our manager only 100, I have no issue with that whatsoever. So this whole sensational headline that you're going to read today, Man United tripling managers' wages, only way they're getting him is by paying him. I mean, it's rubbish. You know, he's earning what I would consider a relatively small amount of money for a football manager at Sporting Lisbon. And obviously there's so much more money in the Premier League, so you're going to have to triple his wages. It's just relative, isn't it? The Premier League makes probably 20 times the amount of money that the Portuguese league makes. So obviously they're going to have to give him more money because there's more money to give. So forget that sensational headline. You're going to have the rival fans saying, oh, he's only coming because you're giving him loads of money. He's coming because he's coming to the biggest club in the world, you know? So that's the fact of the matter. Yes, we're a sleeping giant, and yes, we're not where we should be, but we are the biggest club in the world, if not us or Real Madrid. It's between us and Real Madrid, isn't it? Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat this morning. Obviously, make sure to get into the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on this breaking news that's come out in the last couple of minutes from Fabrizio Romano, that apparently Rúben Amorim has said yes to the Manchester United job. Let me know what you think. Get in the comment section. How do you feel about this? Let me read out some of these comments. Somebody in the chat saying it's another Erik ten Hag, but with hair. I actually disagree, and I'm gonna present my argument to you in a minute on why Rúben Amorim is a lot further forward in his development than Erik ten Hag is. And you know what? I'm going to do it now because there are people in the chat. There are also rival fans who are just like, "Oh, you're just getting another Erik ten Hag. It's not going to work." I disagree. Rúben Amorim is 39 years. Let me just do my little speech, and then you can give me your thoughts in the comment section on what I say. Right? Rúben Amorim is 39 years of age. Erik ten Hag is 54. Rúben Amorim won Sporting Lisbon their first Portuguese league title in 19 years without any budget. 19 years. Whereas Erik ten Hag at Ajax were already the best team in the Netherlands. They were already at the top. Yes, it was a great achievement winning 3 Eredivises in a row, but they were already winning the Eredivisie every year anyway. Whereas Rúben Amorim comes into Sporting Lisbon after getting Braga, who were a very lower Portuguese club. He got them to a Champions League, right, to qualify for the Champions League. At the age of 37, he wins Sporting Lisbon their first league title in 19 years. That's an incredible achievement, right? So he not only does that, but then the year after that, he wins the league title again. That was last season. So for a club who haven't won anything in 19 years, he wins them 2 Portuguese League Cups and 2 league titles, which I think is an incredible achievement for a team that effectively haven't won anything in 19 years. And then some people will say, oh, maybe it's just a bit of luck. Where are they now? I don't care about the past. Sporting Lisbon are currently sat top of the Portuguese league, 27 points from 9 games, which means they've won every single game. They've got 28 plus goal difference. They've only conceded 2 goals all season and have scored 30. In the Champions League, because there'll be some people who say, oh, I don't care about the Portuguese league. It's a farmers league. I don't care, blah, blah, blah. There'll be some people like that. But in the Champions League, unbeaten in the Champions League this season, they're currently sat, I think, 6th in the Champions League group table. They beat Lille, they drew with PSV away from home, and they beat Stern Graz away from home as well. So they've done very well there. They've only conceded 1 goal and scored 6 goals in the Champions League. Now, in relation to formations and stuff, because I know a lot of people who watch this video have said to me, I don't really know that much about Rúben Amorim, and why are you so excited about him? His formation is very different to what Erik ten Hag's is, and he plays 2 different formations. He either plays a 3-4-3, which effectively is 3 centre-backs, okay? Or he plays a 3-4-2-1. So what this would mean is the back 3 would be Lenny Yoro, Martinez and De Ligt. That excites me massively. And then you would have a left wing back and a right wing back. I guess Dalot would be the right wing back, and Luke Shaw would hopefully be the left wing back once he's back fit. or we go and buy a new left wing back in the future, which is probably, I think, what would happen. The only thing which is maybe a bit of a question mark here is what would this mean for our wide players? Because Rúben Amorim doesn't really play like right wingers or left wingers. He plays right wing backs, which effectively are people like Frimpong. He's a prime example of a right wing back, right? Somebody like that. Whereas I'm not sure whether like Ahmad could play as right wing back. Personally, I don't think he's good enough defensively. He's not strong enough. He's not physical enough. So that's maybe one little question mark to kind of explore a little bit further is how would people like Garnacho and Ahmad flourish in a Rúben Amorim setup? Maybe it will work. I actually, funnily enough, think that you could see Antony as a left wing back. And I know people will be sat there laughing at home saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? But I honestly do think that Antony is actually quite good defensively, and we spent £100 million on him. We've got to do something with him. So I'd be interested to see what Rúben Amorim does with Antony, because I genuinely do think that he could do okay as left wing back, because he's not terrible defensively. Whereas, you know, we know that Rashford doesn't track back. We know that Garnacho tries, but maybe isn't physical enough. And we know that Ahmad does try, but I don't think is physical enough. So that's how he sets up his teams. He has two different formations there. Let me just read out the super chat quickly from Daniel. Thank you for your super chat, mate. Daniel says, I'm excited for Rúben Amorim. We need a change in formation. Well, there you go. You've got your change in formation. It will either be a 3-4-3 and either a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1, which I'm excited about. I want to see something different. I'm sick of just the same old 4-3-3 or 4-3-2-1. I'm just bored of it. It doesn't work. It really doesn't work for Manchester United. And now that we've got Lenny Yoro, Martinez and De Ligt, why not play three centre-backs? Why not? There's no reason not to, you know? I think it would work really, really well, personally. And I know some people are like, oh, a back five doesn't work in the Premier League. Thomas Tuchel tried it. Like, you have to try. So this would be my starting 11. So I know people are going to be like, oh, how would it work with Manchester United? You know, with the players we've got, because obviously we can't go and sign players midway through the season. So the three different formations that we could execute are this: 3-4-3, or it's a 3-4-2-1, or he also plays, I've just got it written down here, a 3-4-1-2. So I would go with that, a 3-4-1-2. And how that would line up is this: you'd have Martinez, De Ligt and Yoro as your three centre-backs. You have Luke Shaw as a left wing-back. You then have Mainu and Ugarte as your midfielders, and you have Dalot as a right wing back, okay? Your central attacking midfielder would be Bruno Fernandes, and then you'd have two strikers, which would be Rashford and Højlund, or it could be Højlund and Xerxes, whatever your preference is. So that would be a 3-4-1-2. That's another formation that he plays, where you have two attacking players, two strikers. I'm just really excited, and I think if you look at it from a player's perspective, right? You've got Diogo Dalot, who's obviously Portuguese. He's going to thrive under Rúben Amorim, right? You've got Bruno Fernandes, who was at Sporting Lisbon when Rúben Amorim was the manager. And he said in press conferences, Bruno, how much of an incredible manager Rúben Amorim is, and, you know, what an amazing achievement it is for Rúben Amorim to win Sporting Lisbon, their first Portuguese title in 19 years. Again, an amazing achievement. And some people seem to forget, right, that Manuel Ugarte rose to fame under Rúben Amorim at Sporting Lisbon. So 3 of our starting 11 already have existing relationships with Rúben Amorim. Bruno and Ugarte both made their names under Rúben Amorim. Both of those players are only at Manchester United now because of working with Rúben Amorim, because of the work they did together. That's a fact, because both of those players played for Sporting under Rúben Amorim. So that's really exciting. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I think he is the best option. I think he is, the person who could change everything for Manchester United. Will it work? I don't know. It's impossible to predict, but I think it's giving us the best chance to go forward. But I'm going to do a little poll actually to see what people think. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. And make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We're on the road to 40k. We're very, very close. If we hit 40k by the end of this video, I will gift 10 memberships. So go and subscribe now if you haven't done that. Let's do this. Are you happy with Rúben Amorim? So anybody who's watching back on repeat, obviously you can let me know in the comments section. Anybody who's watching live, you can get involved in the poll. Are you happy with Rúben Amorim as the Manchester United manager? If you're not happy, Let me know who you want instead. Let's have a little read through some of the comments. Somebody says, I'm really happy for Manuel Ugarte. He used to be amazing under Rúben Amorim. Yes, I agree. What else have we got in the chat today? Romano says, Kieran, do you think Rúben will accept these players' poor mentality? Do you think he will keep Rashford on the pitch if he doesn't perform? Will he start using Ahmad more? As I just said a couple of minutes ago, mate, Rúben Amorim doesn't really play right wingers and left wingers. He plays right wing backs and left wing backs, and they have to be good defensively. And I don't think Ahmad's good defensively, and I don't think Rashford's good defensively. So I don't know what it's going to mean for those types of players. Obviously, Ahmad can play as a central attacking midfielder, though. He did that for Sunderland in the Championship. So we could see Amad Diallo maybe play in the number 10 role, which I think would be cool. I'd be up for that. I'd be interested in that, definitely. Al says, do you think Anthony can be turned into a wing back? I think so. I mean, will it work? Who knows? But we don't really have any other options at this point. We spent 100 million euros on Anthony, and at this point, he's probably worth about 20 million euros. So if Rúben Amorim can get something out of Anthony and he turns him into a left wing back, great. Remember, Jeremy Frimpong is regarded as one of the best right wing backs in world football. Would you agree? He's not very good defensively, though. He just goes forward, he bombs up the pitch and gets the ball in the box. And with Anthony being left-footed, if you stick him on that in the left wing back position, get him bombing down the wing, putting balls into the box on his left foot, I mean, it might work. It's worth the chance. It's worth the risk. Let's see what else people are saying this morning. Somebody says, has he actually said yes? I mean, this is coming out from Fabrizio Romano, so I don't know. Why would Fabrizio has literally said Rúben Amorim has given the green light to join Manchester United. He's keen on joining the club after accepting the project and the terms discussed with Manchester United. So effectively, Fabrizio has said in the last hour that he said yes to Manchester United. He's accepted the contract offer, and that Manchester United need to pay Sporting Lisbon 10 million euros in order to get him out of his contract, which we already know for a fact that Manchester United aren't, bothered about paying a compensation package. I personally think that I personally think that this will be announced before the end of the weekend. So this is coming out from the BBC. The BBC are just putting out in the last couple of minutes that Rúben Amorim is a massive fan of the Premier League, given the pace of the game. He follows City and Brighton closely and makes sure he watches a couple of Premier League matches every week. His English is excellent, and his recent reading material includes books about Guardiola, Poch, and Mourinho. And you know what, actually, I've got something really, really interesting to share with you, which I don't think many people will know. Rúben Amorim has actually worked at Manchester United before. You're probably all sat there thinking, what's this guy talking about? If anybody can guess, then I don't know, I'll be very impressed. But Rúben Amorim has actually worked at Manchester United in the past. Does anybody know how? And this might surprise you, but I'm just trying to build up a bit of suspense here. I know people are probably screaming, like, get on with it. He actually used to work under Jose Mourinho, not in an official capacity. He was on an internship under Jose Mourinho. Some of the people in the chat know. So when Jose Mourinho was the Manchester United manager, he worked under Jose Mourinho for a period of time. There's pictures of him at Carrington and stuff. So he already has some sort of relationship with the club. He already knows how it works to some extent, which I think is great. Yeah, people in the chat are saying it was an internship under Mourinho. So what was that, 6 or 7 years ago? He was at Manchester United, Rúben Amorim, at Carrington. There's pictures. If you go and have a look on Google, type in Rúben Amorim, Jose Mourinho. He was effectively his intern, his protege, whatever you want to call it. So he already has that kind of relationship. It was in 2017. So that's really cool. So yeah, I'm super, super excited about this. I think it's, in my opinion, the best appointment that we can get on the market. Some people will say, oh, what about Zidane? Zidane's never coming to Manchester United. We can let that one go. It's not going to happen, right? It won't. And when you look at the other options, there's Nagelsmann. I'm not that bothered about Nagelsmann. I don't think he's on the same level as Rúben Amorim for me. I think when you have somebody like Rúben Amorim who takes a club like Sporting Lisbon and wins them their first title in 19 years, that has to impress you. It does. And then to do that the same year after and to win 2 Portuguese Cups as well, like that's really, really impressive. And the most important thing here, which I want you to really, really focus on with Rúben Amorim, if you go and study what he's like as a person, what his philosophies are, Rúben Amorim's philosophy is youth. And that is why Ineos will want him at Manchester United. He brings through young players. He develops young players. Arguably, Erik ten Hag did that at Ajax as well. But I think the problem with Erik ten Hag and Manchester United was the pressure just swallowed him up. I don't think he has the aura, to be honest, Erik ten Hag. Whereas go and listen to Rúben Amorim speak. Okay? Rúben Amorim speaks perfect English. Erik ten Hag's English wasn't very good when he first came to Manchester United. A lot of the, I mean, even now, some of the stuff Erik ten Hag says doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it? Because obviously Dutch is his first language, and he'll say stuff. What was it he used to say? He used to say project, and he used to just say the same words over and over again. And I feel like with Erik ten Hag, he just knew certain words, and he would just say the same words all the time. Whereas Rúben Amorim speaks perfect English. Go and watch one of his press conferences. And do you know what was really, really weird? Put on the Rúben Amorim press conference and close your eyes. Okay? This isn't anything weird before people start getting ideas. Close your eyes and listen to Rúben Amorim speak. He sounds exactly like Cristiano Ronaldo. It was really weird. I was sat there yesterday and I was listening to his press conferences just because I wanted to know if he spoke English, right? And I had him on in the background and I was like, this isn't Rúben Amorim. This is Ronaldo. Why am I listening to a Ronaldo interview? And I looked and it's him. It really, really freaked me out. And I know that doesn't mean he's going to be a good manager. I'm just saying that his English is really good. He's really fluent. He brings himself really well, and he has that aura, which I think was something that we were really missing with Erik ten Hag. I backed Erik ten Hag to the end. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to sit there and scream sack the manager, because I think there's so many different layers. There's so many different layers of why Manchester United are where we are. I'm not going to bother going into that now because this video is a positive moment. Let's not delve on negativity, but I tried to back the manager. But the one thing that really, really ground my gears with Erik ten Hag was his presence in press conferences. And all I could think was, if I was one of those players under Erik ten Hag in those dressing rooms, right, and I had to listen to this guy speak every single day, it would drive me crazy. And I would listen to him for 10 minutes every week in one press conference, probably whilst I was doing something else, with half of my attention on it. Imagine being stuck with Erik ten Hag every single day. And I'm not trying to be horrible. I just think he was such a dull person. By the way that he communicated. And I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think I'm being horrible. You listen to Pep Guardiola speak. You listen to like a Jurgen Klopp, even an Arteta. You listen to these other top managers speak and it excites you, and it has your full attention and you feel inspired. Whereas when Erik ten Hag used to speak, I just used to think, oh my God, not this again. Yeah. It's nothing to do with like how he speaks. It was just how he conducts himself. He just didn't have an aura, whereas I think Rúben Amorim, if you go and listen to him, he has an aura. He can conduct himself a bit better. He's a bit more like cheeky with the media. Do you know what I mean? There's a bit of back and forth, whereas I just think Erik ten Hag would always just be like, oh, I've won many trophies. Yes, I will win trophies. And it's just like, oh God, right. What else are people saying in the chat today? Make sure you drop a like on the video if you haven't already, guys. This is a massive moment for Manchester United, so I'm really happy to be able to share this all with you. Go and drop a like if you haven't already, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to read out some of your comments and stuff now, so make sure you get your comments in on effectively the news that Rúben Amorim has said yes to Manchester United. Make sure you go and do that now. We're very, very close to 40k, guys, so if you haven't subscribed yet, go and subscribe now. Let's try and get to 40k by the end of today's video. Go and do that right now if you haven't already. And just to go back on the bit where I was talking about Erik ten Hag there, right? It's nothing personal to do with him. I look at things in a pragmatic way. And you have to think about these players. If they feel inspired, if they feel motivated by the people who are around them, they'll perform. It's as simple as that. It's the same in any job, right? Imagine you work in the local supermarket, right? Or you work in an office, whatever it is. and you find your manager really uninspiring and really unmotivating and all the rest of it, do you think you're going to perform as well as you would if there was someone who was really positive and spoke really well? Like, you would. It's obvious, isn't it? It's all about getting the best performance out of these players. Johnny says, has Rúben Amorim played in the Champions League? Rúben Amorim's Sporting Lisbon are currently sat 6th in the Champions League at the moment. They've won 2 and drawn 1 of the last 3 games. So yeah, they're doing well in the Champions League. They've won 2 and drawn 1. They've got 5 goals and only conceded 1. So they're doing very well. Unbeaten in the Champions League. They're above Arsenal, above Barcelona, above Real Madrid, above Dortmund. They're doing really, really well. And I can see some people in the chat as well. Sporting Lisbon do play football tonight. So Sporting Lisbon have a Portuguese League Cup match this evening. And it's believed that this will be his last game for Sporting Lisbon. So it might be worth watching that game just to get a bit of a gauge of how he plays. For those of you who are interested, it's an 8:15 p.m. kickoff this evening. Sporting Lisbon against Nacional, tonight. So I might watch that actually just to get a bit more of an idea. Let's see what else people are saying this morning. Peter says, is there any manager who's tried a back 3 at Manchester United? I'm not sure. That's a good question. That's a good trivial question. Al says, did Amorim play football as well? Yeah, he used to play football. He did. There's actually a picture circulating on the internet of Rúben Amorim when he was a football player playing against Paul Pogba when he was at Juventus. So if anybody's interested in that type of stuff, then he was a footballer as well. But obviously he's a manager now, 39 years of age. He's won trophies. And the thing which I think is the most important thing to focus on here, right? And people will be like, oh, it's the Farmers League, it's Portugal, blah, blah, blah. Sporting Lisbon hadn't won a league title for 19 years. And Sporting Lisbon don't have like a massive budget. The time that they won the league was in 2021, I believe, the first time they won. Their net spend that year, let me just double check that. I want to make sure I get my facts right before I start saying stuff. Let me check. Portuguese league table. Because that's the thing that a lot of people are going to say. They'll be like, oh, it's easy to win the Portuguese league. You know, it doesn't mean anything. And that's complete rubbish. So they won the league in 2020. Okay, that was the first time they'd won the league in 19 years. That season, Sporting Lisbon's net spend was 2 million euros. Okay, if you compare that with like a Benfica or somebody like that, one of the other top teams, their net spend would have been way more than that. And then he also won the league in, I believe it was 2023. Yeah, he won the league last season as well. And last season, his net spend was, let's have a little look. He bought that Victor Gaio Queiroz guy, and it was about 20 million his net spend, which is nothing really in the grand scheme of things when you think that our net spend is about 150 million every season. So it's not like he got hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds thrown at him and he managed to win the league. So yeah. Keith says that apparently Sir Alex Ferguson tried a back 3 in his early days. I don't remember that, but I was probably not alive, was I? That's good to know, though. Thank you for that. Somebody says, do you think they might sign that Gaio Queiroz, the striker? Maybe. I think he's got like £100 million release clause. I think it's too much, but maybe. Somebody says, a very good appointment. My heart tells me that this is the manager we need. I agree. I think it's an amazing appointment. I think it was the person I wanted, so I'm not gonna change up my stance. I wanted Rúben Amorim. I said to you a couple of weeks ago that if we could get Rúben Amorim, I would take him now, but I thought that he wasn't available. I thought that he was waiting until the summer because that was the narrative that the media were putting out there, that Rúben Amorim wasn't available now and we'd have to wait until the summer. Al says, was Amorim in charge of transfers or did he have a director of football? At Sporting Lisbon, he has a director of football. So, yeah. Fred says, what about Ruud van Nistelrooy? Do you think he has a future under Rúben Amorim? I'm going to be honest with you here, Fred, right? I personally don't think that he does. And I want Rúben Amorim to bring in all of his own people. What I don't want to happen, okay, is Rúben Amorim to get the job and them to say, you've got to keep all of Erik ten Hag's staff. Because for me, that's already setting yourself up for failure. I'm not saying that Erik ten Hag's staff are bad, but if he's done well at Sporting Lisbon with his own team, then that's the team that should come, as in his team of coaches, his assistant manager, whatever, his physios. Those are the people who should be coming with him to Manchester. Okay? The worst thing that we can do is be like, you've got the job, but you've got to work with all of the other people who are already here. Because those aren't his people. So, yeah. I don't know the answer to that at the moment. Whether, I don't know the answer as to whether Ruud van Nistelrooy will stay. But me personally, if Rúben Amorim wants his own people, I think you have to bring him his own people, to be honest. I don't really want us to just be keeping Ruud van Nistelrooy for the sake of it. If he wants Ruud van Nistelrooy, if he says, you know what, he's exactly who I want as my assistant, he's amazing, keep him, then great. But if he doesn't want that, then he should be allowed to bring in all of his own people. And I know that's going to cost money, but if you're willing to sack Erik ten Hag, you're willing to pay this compensation to Sporting Lisbon, then, I don't think money's an issue, is it? You know? Either you go all in or you don't. You can't be like, oh, let's keep the kit man who's been here for 30... Not the kit man, that's a bad example. The medical staff or the assistant manager, like René Haak. Why would René Haak work under... Why would René Haak work under Rúben Amorim? It makes zero sense. When have their paths ever crossed? Never. So, yeah, I hope that he gets a whole... I hope that he gets a whole clean slate and has all of the people that he wants. Somebody says Sporting Lisbon's director of football is set to replace... Let me read that again. Somebody says Sporting Lisbon's director of football is set to replace Manchester City's director of football. That's why he was rumoured to join Manchester City. Yeah. Somebody says anyone who thinks we can get better than Amorim is deluded. I don't think there is anyone better than Amorim, is there? I mean, the only people I can think of better than Amorim are Pep, Arteta, maybe. I wouldn't even say Arteta's better. I was talking to my friend yesterday, right, about Arteta. Arteta's not an elite coach, I'm sorry. He's won an FA Cup in his whole career. He's been at Arsenal for 6 years. I know this isn't an Arsenal channel, but I don't think Arteta's an elite manager, to be honest. I don't. I'm not saying that Rúben Amorim is. I'm just saying I don't think... I genuinely would rather have Rúben Amorim than Arteta, 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. I honestly don't think there's that many better managers out there. I don't think Nagelsmann's any better than Amorim. Maybe they're on a level par. Obviously, Pep's better, Jurgen Klopp's better, Ancelotti's better. That's probably about it. Mr. Lewis says, can he speak English? Mr. Lewis, he can speak beautiful, fluent English. Honestly, I was shocked when I watched his press conferences yesterday. He speaks English perfectly. And he's got that aura. Go and watch some of his press conferences. He sounds exactly like Cristiano Ronaldo. It really freaked me out. Honestly, I was sat there, I was doing something else, and I had him playing in the background, Rúben Amorim, and I was like, I thought the video must have ended. I thought it must have gone to a Ronaldo press conference. He sounds exactly like Ronaldo. It's really weird. I guess they're both from the same part of Portugal, I guess, aren't they? Obviously, Ronaldo coming from Sporting Lisbon. But it really, really freaked me out. But in short, to your question, yes, he can speak English absolutely perfectly. So yeah, that's really, really positive. Obviously, Nagelsmann can speak English as well, and all of the other people we were linked to can speak English. But you know what? Just to give you a bit of my own personal opinion, I feel a massive weight off my shoulders today. I feel like this is a breath of fresh air. I feel like it's a fresh start. I feel like it's the right decision. And you know what? Hats off to Ineos. They're moving very quickly. We announced that Erik ten Hag was sacked yesterday. And by 8 a.m. this morning, we have Fabrizio saying that Rúben Amorim's agreed to come to Manchester United. And all that Manchester United need to now do is pay the compensation. So fair play to Ineos. Fair play to Ineos. I was very, very cautious when I found out that Erik ten Hag was sacked because I thought, what's going to happen? Edmund says he hasn't signed yet. Are we not jumping the gun here? I mean, to be honest with you, mate, I was talking to my friend about this yesterday, and I know people are like, oh, I want to wait until it's on the BBC website. I'm not, the video title doesn't say that he's joined Manchester United. It just says that he's said yes, and that's a fact. Fabrizio has literally said in the last half an hour that Rúben Amorim has said yes to Manchester United. He's agreed a contract and he's agreed on the project. Okay, all that needs to happen is Manchester. He's got a release clause. So there's all these people who are like, oh, it might not happen. It might not happen. He has a release clause. The same as a player. In his contract, there is a release clause for 10 million euros This is what Fabrizio said in the last half an hour. All Manchester United have to do is pay the 10 million euros release clause, and then there's nothing Sporting can do about it. They can't say no because this release clause is there. He triggers the release clause and he's ours. So, yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to play, as I said, Sporting Lisbon do have a game of football today. Sporting Lisbon play football today, so he's obviously going to manage that game. I imagine after the game, we'll probably get videos of him waving goodbye to the Sporting Lisbon fans, and I reckon they'll announce him. My prediction is they'll announce him before the game against Chelsea on Sunday, and he'll then be watching the game. He won't. There's no way he'll be managing the game against Chelsea. No way. He won't be managing against Leicester tomorrow, and he won't be managing against Chelsea. But if I was to predict, this is my timeline, right? So this morning, let me do a little timeline before I end the video. So this morning we have Fabrizio saying that he's agreed to join Manchester United. The contract's been agreed. Okay, that's the first milestone. Then Manchester United will pay the 10 million euros, which effectively means he's our manager. Tonight, Sporting Lisbon play. We'll get videos circulating of him waving goodbye to the fans. It's at Sporting Lisbon. It's at home as well. So that will happen tonight. I don't think anything will happen tomorrow. There won't be an announcement before the game. And then on Sunday, I reckon he'll be announced at Old Trafford. Composed View says a release clause doesn't mean he'll come. If the job at City is going to be opened at the end of the season, then maybe he'll go there. But I hear what you're saying, mate, but Fabrizio Romano, who's probably one of the most reliable journalists in world football, has said in the last half an hour that he's agreed to join Manchester United and he's agreed a contract. So, I mean, yeah, in theory, maybe Manchester United announce, if you want to go down the hypothetical route, maybe Manchester United announce in 10 minutes that Pep Guardiola's leaving at the end of the season and then they approach Rúben Amorim. That could happen. That's a possibility. But other than that, I don't really see how we don't get him, you know? Maybe that happens. That could happen, you know? It's a possibility. But I think it's unlikely. Because at the moment, Pep Guardiola still seems to be toying with the idea of staying. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with all of this. I think it's a really clever appointment, and I like the speed in which Ineos are working. I've said to you before, I didn't want Ruud van Nistelrooy as the manager. You know, there's some more breaking news coming out here. Apparently, Sporting Lisbon. So this is what I mean by all of these little milestones, right? From here to him being at Old Trafford holding the shirt. Apparently, Sporting Lisbon have approached a new manager. This is coming out in the last 30 seconds. The guy's name is João Pereira. He is a Portuguese former footballer, used to play for Sporting Lisbon, 40 years of age. I'll be honest, I've never heard of him, but I don't know that much about Portuguese football, to be honest. What the hell is this? Let's have a look. João Pereira, does anybody know who that is? So it's just come out in the last couple of minutes that apparently Sporting Lisbon are lining up João Pereira as the next Sporting Lisbon manager. He's currently the manager of the Sporting Lisbon B-side. So they've got an in-house appointment already sorted by the looks of it. He plays the same formation as well as Rúben Amorim. He plays a 3-4-3, 40 years of age. He's been working as the assistant manager since 2021 and then managing the B-side. In fact, he is so there you go. They've effectively lined up their replacement. And the story also says that apparently Rúben Amorim has agreed to a salary of 7 million euros per year, which is about £6 million, and it will be a 3-year contract. So yeah, there you go. I'm happy. I'm really, really happy about this. I think it's clever business. Let's have a look at the results of the poll. Over 1,000 people have voted on this morning's poll. And the question is this: are you happy with Rúben Amorim? 91% of people watching today's video are happy with Rúben Amorim, and 9% of people aren't happy with Rúben Amorim. So it's very, 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 very good there. Somebody in the chat saying, brah. I'm assuming, I don't know what brah is. He says, brah, you are one of the Erik ten Hag backers. You need calling out. Wow. What the thing that I don't understand, right, is there are some people whose whole identity is attached to this Erik ten Hag out, but they don't ever actually have the conversation about why Erik ten Hag should be sacked, why he should not be sacked, who the next manager is going to be. That it's just Erik ten Hag out. And the manager's already gone, and you're still clinging on to this obsession of, I'm an Erik ten Hag outer, I'm an Erik ten Hag inner. It's weird. It is just weird. You know, go and find something else to be interested in. Like, don't base your whole personal identity around whether a manager should be sacked or not. It's just strange behaviour, I think. You know, it's just really weird. But and you obviously don't watch the channels very often, because I said in the past, many times before, that if a better manager was available, I would get rid of Erik ten Hag. I said that multiple times, and I just didn't think a better manager was available. Nagelsmann didn't want to supposedly leave Germany because of the World Cup coming up, and Sporting Lisbon and Rúben Amorim, apparently he was going to stay until the summer. You know, but things change. We now find out today that Rúben Amorim wants to leave. Like, how was I supposed to know that Rúben Amorim wanted to leave 6 months ago? Nobody in this chat knew that. You know, you don't personally speak to Rúben Amorim. Fabrizio Romano only just found out an hour ago that Rúben Amorim wants to come to Manchester United. Like, how was I supposed to know that Rúben Amorim didn't want to stay until the summer? Because that's what the media were putting out there, that Rúben Amorim was available in the summer and that the best option would be for Erik ten Hag to stay until the summer and then get Rúben Amorim. Like, yeah, it's just weird. And I think the thing with the fan base is we need to try and stay united. You know, we need to try and stay together. And creating divide, it's just pointless. Why? You know? You should be able to have conversation opposed to just like, yeah. And the man's gone. The manager's gone. Erik ten Hag is gone. I've seen him boarding the flight back to Amsterdam. He had a smile on his face. He had £15 million in the bag. I don't care. I'm not bothered that he's gone, you know? So, yeah. Yeah, somebody's asking if it's Rúben Amorim's last game for Sporting tonight. Apparently, they play Nacional tonight in the Portuguese League Cup. So, there you go. Dali says, do you think he'll utilise Xerxes as one of the 10s? I think so, yeah. As I said about 20 minutes ago, the only thing that I worry about with Rúben Amorim, and this is just, I try and present a fair argument, I always do this on this channel, you know, is what will happen to our wide players, because obviously he doesn't really play right wingers and left wingers. He plays wing backs, and it's whether Garnacho is willing to, you know, adapt to be a more defensive player. The same with Rashford, the same with Ahmad. Because at the moment, I don't think any of those players I've just mentioned are good enough defensively, to be honest, to play as a left wing back or a right wing back. So, yeah. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. We've got over 1,000 people watching the video today, guys, which is amazing. So if you are new today, make sure you subscribe. We're on the road to 40k. We are very, very close. So make sure you go and do that now if you haven't already. And yeah, make sure you like the video as well. Let me see what else people are saying in the chat. Let's have a look at some of your comments, shall we? Somebody says, what about Garnacho and the wingers? Yeah, that is a bit of a concern, but I mean, the thing is, right, Garnacho and Ahmad are still very, very young. I think Garnacho can be moulded into whatever we want him to be moulded into, and Ahmad can play as a central attacking midfielder, remember. He did that for Sunderland in the Championship, so, you know, Ahmad can definitely play in the number 10 role. The only one that maybe you have a bit of a question mark over is Marcus Rashford, because, I mean, he's 27 now? Rashford isn't suddenly just going to become a left wing back. We know he doesn't defend. We know he's not interested in the defensive side of football. So, but yeah, I mean, some people in this fan base probably want Rashford sold anyway, so I don't know. But as I said a little bit earlier on, right, Rúben Amorim does also play a 3-4-1-2, which would mean you have two strikers. So Rashford could play as one of those strikers alongside Rasmus Højlund. That is an option. So it's not like he's going to be completely frozen out. I just think that he's going to have to be a little bit more creative, Rúben Amorim, to fit in all of these wide players. But let's be honest here, right? Is it working with these wide players? Okay? And I'm not going to individualise this. I'm going to say as a whole. Our wide players don't work in the formation that we've been playing. They don't cross the ball. They don't pass. They don't score enough. They miss open goals. They miss easy chances. They don't assist. Our wide players aren't working. And I'm not singling people out. I'm not saying... People will say, oh, what about Ahmad? Ahmad. Like, let's just look at it as a whole. From a formation perspective, playing a left winger and a right winger at the moment, it doesn't work for Manchester United. So I'm excited about the prospect of having this, this different formation and a different style of play, a 3-4-3, giving other players an opportunity. You know, Harry Amas. I saw people talking about this yesterday, right? So many people in this chat are screaming for Harry Amas to get game time. Rúben Amorim focuses on youth. Harry Amas would be perfect as a left wing back. Absolutely perfect. And he'll get his opportunity, I think. You know, there'll be Leny Yoro in there. There'll be Harry Amas. There'll be Manuel Ugarte. Like, it's really exciting. So yeah, I'm not bothered about it, you know, about the wing players, to be honest. They haven't been performing. That's the fact of the matter, you know? They haven't been performing. Anthony doesn't perform. Rashford doesn't perform. Ahmad doesn't really get the chances to perform. And Garnacho plays a lot. I still don't think Garnacho performs to the level that's required of a Manchester United player. I like Garnacho. I think he's a good player, but we wouldn't be... Let's just simplify this argument, right? If our wide players, our attacking players, were doing their job, would we be sat 14th in the Premier League? Would we be 24th in the Europa League group? Would we have the highest XG in the Premier League but the least amount of goals? No, we wouldn't, would we? It's as simple as that. We create opportunities, but our wide players don't score. So, yeah. What else have we got? Somebody's saying we must sign a right winger. My friend, Rúben Amorim doesn't play right wingers. He plays wing back. So we need a right wing back or a left wing back. We need someone like a Frimpong. Gator Crusader says Ugarte and Mainu pivot with a 3 at the back is so solid. Mate, I'm absolutely gassed for that. I'm so excited. I honestly am. This was the team that I put together, right? Let me read out my team for you. So if I was Rúben Amorim, based on the formation that I know he plays, this is what I'm expecting him to do. So it'd be Onana in goal. And then you have a back 3 of Martinez, De Ligt and Leny Yoro. You then have 4 in the midfield. You have Luke Shaw. This is obviously in an ideal world if he comes back. You have Luke Shaw, Kobe Mainu, Manuel Ugarte and Diogo Dalot. You then have Bruno Fernandes as the central attacking midfielder, but it could be Ahmad there, it could be Mount, it could be Xerxes. And then you have 2 strikers, which would be Rashford and Højlund. That's what I would do based on the team we have at the moment. So it's a 3-4-1-2. Martinez, De Ligt, Yoro, Shaw, Mainu, Ugarte, Dalot, Bruno, Rashford, Højlund. I like it. Darren says, I'm interested to see what he can do with Rasmus Højlund's development. For sure. As I said a couple of minutes ago, like, this is one of the main selling points of Rúben Amorim is his ability to develop youth. So I'm very, very excited to see what Rúben Amorim can do with our young players, with the Harry Amases, the Chido Obi Martins. Like, that's our future. Absolutely buzzing for it. I am. I'm so excited. And maybe this, you know, this excitement will be dragged out of me like it did with other managers, but I feel like this is the right appointment. I feel like it's the best man for the job. So yeah, I'm happy with it. For me, the top 3 options were Rúben Amorim number 1, Nagelsmann number 2, and then I said Xavi as number 3 just because, like, just for argument's sake. Those were my 3 options. So as it stands at the moment, unless something terribly wrong happens, Rúben Amorim looks like he will be the Man United manager, and that was the person I wanted. So I'm really, really happy about that. Peter said, is it Peter? No. Somebody saying they want Altay Bayindir in goal. Somebody says, I like the sound of the 3-4-1-2. Somebody says, what if he plays a 4-3-3? I'd be quite disappointed if he comes in and plays a different formation. I don't want that, to be honest. Dali says, how we were ever linked to Thomas Frank is completely beyond me. I thought the same. I spoke to a couple of people and they were like, oh, Thomas Frank, world class, bring him in. And I was like, really? Thomas Frank? Like, he's a mid-table manager for me. You know? No disrespect to Thomas Frank. He's done an amazing job at Brentford. But, you know, it's a no. But I'm going to end the video here, guys. It's been a lot longer than I was planning on doing, but obviously it's a massive talking point. Please make sure to drop a like before you leave. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And once this video goes live, I want you to get in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on Rúben Amorim. Thank you very much for watching. Been an amazing stream this morning. Have a great day. The mood is positive again, which just makes me happy. I feel excited. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my back. Yeah. let's get behind the manager, obviously, once he comes in and once it's been announced. Have a good day, everybody. Don't forget to drop a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I'll speak to you all later. Bye for now.